Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Hello and welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined, as always, by the Billy to my Agnes, Eric Kniss.
Oh, God.
You want to make some, squealing noise into the mic?
No.
This is upsetting.
Not cool. It's not the greatest.
And we are joined by, look at that, 2 months in a row. What the fuck is going on? OughtFiveFilm's own Mike Wallace.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you as well. And on this episode of the Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about Black Christmas 1974. And apparently, since Eric and Mike have seen the 2006 one, we'll touch on that one a little bit. But we're here primarily to talk about 1974's Black Christmas, a film that one might say is the proto-slasher film. It did come out 4 years before Halloween. Just mentioning it. Let's not get ourselves all spun out of control here.
I think there's no question that it's the proto-slasher film.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And it stars Margot Kidder and Olivia Hussey, who, along with their sorority sisters, are tormented by a sadistic killer during a Christmas party.
A high school girl's been murdered. Mr. Harrison's daughter is missing. And now at the house where she lives, the other girls are getting obscene phone calls.
Yeah, what I've done is I've tapped this phone so that when it rings, it'll ring at the station house, too.
There was a little girl murdered over in the park tonight. Yes, I heard. Your phone's ringing. Hello?
Keep my Mommy. There's the baby. Baby, all right, Mommy.
Ralph, who's there?
I know you're there, nasty man! You answer me as bad! Mommy! Come here! Where's Agnes? You won't!
What are you doing, Chris?
This is Graham. It's group 140, terminal 55.
Remember those idyllic scenes out of your childhood? Crisp winter nights, star bright, sleigh bells, crackling Yule logs, candlelight glistening off of shimmering Christmas trees, chestnuts roasting over open fires, carolers beneath snow-covered window ledges. Remember those. Remember them well. After Black Christmas, they'll never be the same again. Black Christmas, starring Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, Margot Kidder, and starring John Saxon as Lieutenant Fuller. If this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight.
All right, so starting with you, Mike, you wanted to be on this podcast, so I'm assuming you must really like this film. So what do you think about Black Christmas 1974?
Yeah, I don't really like this movie. I actually love this movie. For any number of reasons. As I said, it is sort of the prototypical slasher movie. Discovering this came out like 4 years before Halloween. It was kind of startling the first time I watched it, how much that movie drew on this, from the point of view shots to the subject matter in general. I think the movie has some genuinely disturbing shit in it, and I like most of the performances in it. And I think Bob Clark's direction. Bob Clark eventually got known for Porky's and then Christmas Story. Like, that was another revelation. That, like, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and I'm sure everyone's favorite Christmas movie, Christmas Story. Like, that he did this first. They're nice bookends to a career. We'll get into it, obviously, but I like their treatment of the villain in this movie. It's really unlike any slasher movie we got after it, and it's just super effective.
For the record, my favorite Christmas movie is Jingle All the Way, because I am scum. So you are welcome.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're literally the worst.
Yeah, and Eric, isn't your favorite Christmas movie Silent Night, Deadly Night 2?
No.
Garbage Day. There are a few, like, clips from films that will make me laugh as hard as the fucking Garbage Day clip, because, man, that is the only redeeming part of that entire goddamn film. Oh.
I agree. I actually like the first one, but the second was just like a clip show of the first movie,
right?
Isn't it?
It's like that episode of The Simpsons, the clip show, where it's like, let's just show, remember when Bart and Lisa did this? Yeah, that's pretty much all that movie is.
Yeah, I don't know. What is my favorite Christmas movie? I don't even know. I think my knee-jerk reaction is to just say The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's just...
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters, and Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
It's like it's the only Christmas movie that I ever watched, like when I was a child. I don't really watch Christmas movies anymore unless it's like Die Hard or...
I was going to say, certainly you've seen Die Hard or Gremlins or...
Okay, can we agree that saying Die Hard is your favorite Christmas movie is like a really fucking dumb answer now? It's like that's such a played out answer.
Yeah.
That's like that's like the I'm cute answer, like, oh, Die Hard because it takes place at Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie, and it can't be a Christmas movie just because it takes place at Christmas. That's not how Christmas movies
basically
work.
Any movie by Shane Black.
Yeah, right. Iron Man 3 is my favorite Christmas movie, dude. No. So
no.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 should be nobody's favorite anything movie. That movie's garbage.
Come on. Iron Man 3 is fine. Have you seen Iron Man 2, dog? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, dude. I'll watch Iron Man 3 all day long over Iron Man 2.
Yeah, dude. Iron Man 2 is Iron Man 2 is just garbage. Oh, my God. What a waste of the immensely talented Mickey Rourke as, anything other than a Russian guy with some electro whips. Jesus. Coming back to Black Christmas, though, Eric, what did you think of Black Christmas 1974?
I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever seen it, and I really, really liked it. It's definitely it's 100% the proto-slasher movie because it's kind of just, I guess I was going to say it's really similar to Halloween, but I guess Halloween is very similar to this movie in that, and like a lot of the early slasher movies, it's really more of like the buildup of the kills and like just sort of like the dread of not knowing what's going to happen or like where it's going to come from next than it is about like the insane like violence of it, like maybe like newer slasher movies are. There was let me preface this by saying that this movie makes little to no sense to me at all. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
You're not the only one, bro.
for it to make any sort of sense. But I think that's like part of what makes this movie awesome is like it's just senseless and has no like meaning or like they put like zero rhyme or reason behind the reason why these girls are being offed. So that's like almost scarier than if everybody was given, a just handed a reason ahead of time and just gone like, oh, this is why this person is killing all these, girls over Christmas or whatever. And it's just kind of like, hey, let's take the most happy and, hallmark of all holidays and let's just flip it on its ear and just say like, hey, we're going to just kill a bunch of sorority girls over the span of a few days on Christmas break. And I'm like, wow. I'm into that. That's cool.
So I'm going to echo you a little bit, Eric. This movie is slow. It's plotting. It's very methodical. It's very similar to Halloween, but it's also very different from Halloween. Nobody talks about Billy from Black Christmas in the pantheon of kind of killers from movies, and that's intentional. I would say, in a way, if you've seen the Leslie Vernon movie, however, you'll know that they kind of talk about the character of Billy from Black Christmas in Rise of the Mask, the Leslie Vernon story. I always butcher the title of that movie.
Behind the Mask?
Yeah, Behind the Mask, Rise of the Mask, The Dark Knight Rises, the story of Leslie Vernon. And, it's intentional because if you do any reading about Black Christmas, you'll know that the character of Billy is actually based off of a real life person who has kind of gotten his second day in the sun thanks to a little show called Mindhunters on Netflix. The character of Billy is based off of Ed Kemper. Yeah. So that's kind of the whole, like, without a rhyme or reason of the character of Billy in the film. it's a film that I'm not sure it's aged very well. It is a compelling film. It's very much a proto-slasher film, but at the same time, there are things about it that obviously films that came out later did better, and that's kind of always the way something like that is. Halloween, there are things about Halloween that I'm not a fan of that other films that came out later did better. There are things that this film did that a film like Halloween that came out 4 years later did better. However, that being said, this is still a great movie. And again, if you showed someone this film and then Halloween and told them that this film came out first, they'd be like, what? And I think that does a little bit of a disservice to this film because, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle of like horror movies and slasher movies and kind of who influenced who. And that's kind of a bummer because it's a good movie in its own right. And, kind of not getting your day in the sun as a filmmaker is, kind of disappointing because I can imagine for Bob Clark, everyone's saying, John Carpenter made the slasher film, and he's like, no, I had it first. Like, that must kind of suck.
But it does. But at the same time, I think Bob Clark, I think this was, I don't know that he made any other horror movies after this. I think, I think this was like his breakthrough film, which a lot of horror movies are breakthrough films because they're easy to get made. There's always a market for them. So I don't think he necessarily felt any blowback or felt that he was being done a disservice by no one lionizing this movie, because I think he did make the movies he eventually wanted to make. But at the same time, it is kind of a drag that people don't talk about this movie the way they talk about Halloween. And that might be just the exposure. I mean, Halloween broke big, at the right time. When people talk about horror movies at Christmas now, something like Silent Night, Deadly Night gets mentioned more often, or Christmas Evil or something. And maybe it's just the title. It's people used to hear the name Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so that was what they considered to be the greatest horror movie of all time without actually having seen it. But this is a really good movie. I do agree it has a lot of problems, but nevertheless, it is wildly enjoyable.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the problems stem from, and this may be sacrilege to say, but there are no likable leads in this film.
Right.
They are, Olivia Hussey, I'm sorry. You are just, when she answers the phone in this movie, makes me want to slam my head against the table. It is the most obnoxious. It is the most obnoxious shit in a film I've seen all year.
When I was watching this movie, I literally said out loud, somebody should revoke this bitch's phone privileges.
What? Hello? Well, it's like, what are you on about? Have you never answered a phone? It's like when in movies you see people playing video games and they're just clicking the buttons on the controller, and you're like, this isn't how people do this. And that's the same thing she's doing when she answers the phone. She's screaming into it like the person on the other end of the phone is deaf.
Yes.
Just bizarre. Just absolutely bizarre.
It's definitely weird. I don't know. There's a lot of cringy parts in this movie that I'm just watching and just laughing at and just going oh my God, this is amazing. And it's so weird how strangely dated a lot of the concepts are. But it also, then thinking back, I can totally see how this movie paved the way for every other slasher movie. And it's weird because you see all these tropes in this movie that you see in a lot of other movies.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
And you think like, oh, that's played out. But when this movie came out, those tropes didn't exist yet because this movie invented them almost. So it's definitely weird. It's definitely like a weird thing to watch this movie and go like, huh, somebody invented all of this stuff that we know and love about, you know, the modern slasher movie, you know, like sort of the post-Halloween slasher. And this movie basically invented all of that stuff. It's pretty cool.
Not only that, but like, you know, the modern slasher movie, any of your Friday the 13th or sort of any of the early 80s slasher movies, they didn't have a goddamn thing to say other than let's watch teenagers get brutalized. Whereas I'm not totally sure how successful this movie was at like having a point of view, but there is a story going on here. I mean, they do introduce these sort of social mores that they're kind of breaking with I mean, there's an abortion subplot going on in this movie, and then you know, the killer, even though we're not given an explicit backstory to him, there's something about a baby that was murdered. You kind of like, you know, you get that from the sort of dialogue he keeps sort of spouting. So it's like this weird kind of like parallelism going on between the lead character's current life and what this killer represents and has come to like, you know, rain death on these ladies.
Yeah.
I was honestly waiting for it to be like, oh, you were adopted and like that's your adopted brother coming to try to kill you. Like I was expecting for some sort of like horseshit twist because they did that in Halloween, right?
The Halloween twist,
right? I was expecting the twist from Halloween. That's Halloween 2, right?
Yeah,
the horseshit, like he's your brother, like ugh, God,
like, everything has to be connected. Everything has to be explained. Like this movie is so ambiguous with their killer. I mean, is his name Billy? I guess so. I mean, he says Billy a lot on the phone, but ultimately we come away knowing zero about this killer and zero what he's doing. I mean, sometimes I guess a killer just sneaks into your house and picks you off one by one. Deal with it. Like that I love about this movie.
Right. And you know, with the kind of current, I would say, obsession that people have with serial killers as a society, like this movie plays really well into that. And I actually really like that about this film, is that it plays into people's obsession with serial killers and, you know, the serial killer just like Ted Bundy just showed up and just started murdering these girls. And, you know, there you go. Like, that's kind of what this was, right? Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, people want an explanation for everything. Like, you know, we had a tragedy here. I live in Las Vegas. We had a mass shooting recently, and in the days afterwards, everyone's asking like, why did he do it? I'm like, how are you going to feel better for knowing? Like, what will the explanation get you? Like, virtually nothing. It's always in. Horror movies need to learn this again somehow, but it's always scarier not knowing.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
That's why The Strangers is the best horror movie that's come out in probably the last like 10 years, easily.
Did you say The Strangers?
Yeah.
I do like The Strangers. I think Ty West's film House of the Devil might be a better horror movie than.
No, don't say things like that to Chris.
I'm not a fan of Ty West. I'm just not.
No.
Love it.
I'm just not.
I like that movie. I like The Innkeepers. Whatever that last one was, that it was the sort of Jim Jones movie. I was into that as well.
What about the Western?
Sacrament.
Didn't he do a Western too?
Okay. That was not great.
Okay, so that's where we draw the line. Okay, I got it.
We draw the line at West.
I agree with you though. Like, and this is something Eric and I have talked about before, and I'm sure you on your podcast have talked about it as well. Explaining something or giving a prequel takes the piss out of everything.
Absolutely.
Like, we did not need a Darth Vader backstory. It made Darth Vader a joke. I won't say we didn't need a Hannibal Lecter backstory because I love Manhunter.
Yeah.
Manhunter's
but then again, is that backstory?
No, that's not.
No, it's just like, a case also dealing with him.
But Hannibal Rising is.
And that's a fucking dreadful movie.
And Eric, you shut your mouth. Manhunter's fantastic.
No, Manhunter's terrible. It's the worst.
Oh my God, no.
See what I'm dealing with here? See, I don't like Ty West, and he's sitting here. Manhunter's terrible.
Manhunter is the best Hannibal Lecter film.
It's true.
I can't even get through it. I have tried to watch it.
Oh my God!
It's because he doesn't like William Peterson.
Oh, you're kidding me? He's great in that movie.
I hate him.
Oh.
What was it you said? Isn't that the guy from CSI? That's what you said to me, right?
Yeah, fuck CSI, dude.
Well, you're not wrong. He is the guy from CSI.
Yeah, I mean, when you have like a backstory, or you give a character like, a whole 3 films to explain how they came to be, like, fuck, who cares?
Yeah, ultimately, who gives a shit? Like, oh, okay, and now I know he had a shitty childhood. Great.
Look, the xenomorphs were made by a robot. Oh my God.
Perfect example.
Turns into an Alien podcast.
I know. Every chance we get to shit on Alien, we will take that opportunity.
Oh, well, I mean, they did take one of the greatest films of all time and just rob it of any of its power. These beasts out in space that are like as close to a like Cthulhu-like monster you could come up with, and now it's just like the science experiment by a fucking robot. Like, come on.
A robot played by Fassbender, nonetheless. Played poorly by Michael Fassbender, nonetheless. But I mean, that's what Black Christmas doesn't do, and that's what makes it ultimately successful, and that's what kind of, every Friday the 13th movie, it was like they were playing chicken, right? It's like, do we tell more of the Jason story, or do we just kind of ignore it? And same thing with Freddy. I mean, by the end of the Freddy Krueger trilogy, for fuck's sake, that would have been okay.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
Yeah, by the end of the Freddy Krueger franchise, sans New Nightmare, you knew who Freddy was, you knew his backstory, you knew his motivation, and he became a joke at the end. Obviously,
Absolutely.
They played him up to be a joke as well, But, when you look at a film like Black Christmas, it's like, nope. And let me guess, I know nothing about the 2006 Black Christmas, but let me guess they tell an entire backstory about the main character, about the killer named Billy.
The entire movie is backstory.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a surprise.
Yes.
Now, is it the same?
Almost. No, it is and it isn't.
I mean, the setup is...
This movie takes place. The original Black Christmas takes place over a few days. It's not a bottle movie necessarily. We leave that location. The new one takes place 100% in that house during a blizzard occurring, and everyone's sort of trapped there. And from that, we flash back to the earlier residents of the house, which was Billy and his sister Agnes and their parents, and we learn all of that. And then so it all basically is self-contained and takes place in one night. And for all the bullshit backstory that they feed into it with what our knowledge of serial killers are and how they're formed, which figures heavily into the plot, even with all of that, it is stylish enough and interesting enough that it's good as a separate film. Like, if they hadn't called it Black Christmas and they had new character names, I'd be like, this is a pretty cool movie. But it's lowered a little bit in my estimation just because I love the original Black Christmas so much.
And it's associated with it because it's called Black Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is. I mean,
are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show, and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice, and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
It is Billy and Agnes. It's like the characters all have the same names. It's the same sort of setup. I mean, it's based upon Black Christmas, but yeah, I mean, I do like it sort of separate but equal. Well, not equal, but it's good. It's worth a look.
Yeah, it's definitely like the style of the 2006 Black Christmas is awesome. Like stylistically, the way that it was shot and the way that it was colored and everything is really, really cool. It's a lot of stuff that you just don't see from a lot of movies now because everything is so like monochrome and sort of black and gray and muted, and this movie is like really I don't know, it's like
a candy colored horror movie.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And I should say along those lines, like whereas the first Black Christmas, they sort of they very assiduously avoid showing us the murders happening. I mean, it's almost the whole thing is taking place off screen, which is obviously a stylistic decision that Bob Clark made to the movie's benefit. Whereas the remake, they're like, let's totally embrace the sort of slasher trope of like seeing the gore, but let's do it in an entirely Christmas way. So what we're getting is like candy canes that have been they've sharpened, and like people being strangled with Christmas lights that are still on. Like it's its good own it as its own thing. But the original is the better movie.
See, now you've essentially sold me on the film, because what's better than seeing someone strangled by Christmas lights, really?
Yeah, it's look, man, the murders in this movie, this is a weird thing to say, the murders in the movie are beautiful.
Well, and you look at a film like this where like you said, I mean, you don't see anything in this movie. You see nothing.
Yeah.
Which again, I mean, like you said, that's a really good thing. I mean, that's awesome. Like, far be it from me to complain about a film that leaves it up to your imagination more than showing it.
Right.
There's something to be said for that in this day and age, with everyone showing everything.
Most modern audiences tend to believe that to be like a cop-out in some way, and like they don't really give themselves over to the experience that, you can imagine something better than they could.
Yeah.
Like, give yourself some credit.
Again, it's just, I think modern audiences want, I don't know, I don't think modern audiences know what they want with horror movies.
They want to be shown. They don't want to figure out stuff on their own, because that's a lot of work.
They want it to be clever, but not too clever.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I did after I watched the original Black Christmas, and before I watched the second one, I did a little bit of reading up on like how the remake got made, and it definitely I think that movie, Black Christmas 2006 had so much studio meddling in like sort of like during production and then like post-production. There was like an entire trailer where there was basically a bunch of scenes that were shot just for the trailer that just were not in the movie. So like there's all these weird sequences that would be totally cool to have in the movie that just weren't in the movie because they thought that trailer would play better with audience, because this is like around Hostel and Saw and everything, so like everybody was like super hyped on all the like gore and like super hardcore violence and all of this stuff. And I think that the 2006 Black Christmas would have been a lot closer to the original had the studios just left it alone and not tried to make it like a cash grab. In the 2006 remake of Black Christmas was going to be a lot closer to the original than it ended up being, and a lot of that is because of studio meddling.
You're saying that studios meddle?
Oh, no, I would never claim that. I would never claim that Harvey Weinstein, who molested a lot of young women in Hollywood, definitely ruined a potentially really cool remake of Black Christmas by going to the set and saying that there needed to be more blood and gore, and that's what was going to sell tickets to the movie. I don't know. I mean, I think, it's a shame that the remake of Black Christmas is not really heralded as well as the original movie, but like, let's be fair, the original movie wasn't heralded really at all until like much, much later. And still, even to this day, even though it is really the original slasher movie, even predating Halloween and everything, like nobody knows about Black Christmas. Nobody has seen Black Christmas, but everybody knows about Halloween. Michael Myers is is on the tip of everybody's tongue come Halloween or whatever. But, come Christmas time, nobody's, scared about about like random weird people, you know, living in their house or sneaking into their walls and picking them off one by one, which is a terrifying thing to think about. I don't know. It's a shame, man, because stylistically that remake is really, really cool. And it has a lot of like the awesome elements of, you know, a really good horror movie. And it is a really good horror movie, but it could have been great. It was good, not great. So
let me speak to that for a second, because I don't think I would ever find myself on the side of the studio. But in this case, I think they might have been right. Because the parts of the remake that to me don't work are the backstory part. Like, I think that's all superfluous. And what I ended up liking was the gore, was the murders. And I know, so that movie's made by Glenn Morgan and James Wong. They were writers on the X-Files and Millennium. I think they were the best writers on those. Yeah, and you know, they did the first Final Destination movie, and and of the two of them, they sort of trade off who's going to direct each movie. So the more sort of like leaning into sort of gore, that's James Wong. And Glenn Morgan was always a little bit more reserved. He was the one who directed that Willard remake, which was not very good. And he directed this, and it was his original intention to sort of hew closer to Bob Clark's vision of like not getting into the gore. But like once it became evident that that's where the studio wanted him to go, I think he really leaned into it hard, and that to me is what makes it like a watchable film. In addition, I mean the script is good. I mean those guys are great writers. But like I'm glad they pushed him in that direction, because he was like, well, you want gore? Fuck it, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you in a really interesting manner.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really cool kills, and it's definitely like, as far as like just fun, gory movies go, it's definitely awesome. I don't know. I think I don't know if I would have liked more backstory. I think I would have just liked a less balls to the wall, like gore fest of a movie, and something like a little bit more on the like quietly terrifying front. You know, a little bit more about the like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? Not like, oh shit, check out this bucket of blood that just happened. Like, that was crazy, right?
Yeah, and I think where he should have pushed back at like the end of the remake, sort of they gave in to what Bob Clark resisted when Warner Brothers bought the original Black Christmas. They pushed really hard for the end of that movie to be Claire, the girl who gets killed at the very beginning of the movie. Her boyfriend's played by an actor named Art Hindle, who's been in everything. They wanted him to show up, and then suddenly it be revealed that he was the killer. And he was like, no, we're going to have it be unknown from beginning to end. We're going to leave the ending completely ambiguous, and that's on my movie. And Glenn Morgan sort of like gave in and gave them the big sort of like, now we're in a hospital and it continues kind of an ending. Because the original ending for the original film is so good. You know, this guy after he kills somebody, he calls the house. Like, that's when the calls are happening, like after every murder. So at the end of the movie, when they've got the heroine, she survived, and all the cops leave her alone, we cut outside the house and the phone starts ringing. It's like, oh my God, he got her.
And and like you said, that's what makes this great, is that it's such a it's such a bleak ending, and you know, the film, there not a lot of good happens in the film to the characters. Nothing good happens to the characters.
No.
And that's refreshing as well, because then I know, you know, Eric and I both kind of feel this way. Horror movies, for the most part, should not have happy endings.
No.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. And so you have a film like,
I hate The Conjuring.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, you just hate The Conjuring, Jesus.
I do. I hate it. It's terrible, and I don't like it.
But that being said, you know, I didn't really care that Olivia Hussey's character died, because she was so obnoxious.
It could have been maybe Margot Kidder. Maybe if she had survived to the end, like. As detestable as a character as she was at least a bit of fun.
Yeah. Margot Kidder's character is definitely the better character in the film. Like, yeah, she's kind of a shithead, but like, at least she's not like just the beyond obnoxious that Olivia Hussey's character is.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, what a fucking bullshit move. The Olivia Hussey character, her boyfriend is in this conservatory. He's like a piano player. He's got his big like final exam coming up. And like 5 minutes before he's about to do it, she shows up and's like, "Hey, I'm pregnant with your kid, and I'm going to have an abortion." Completely fucking him for his audition.
And then she goes even farther than that. Fucking murders him.
Yeah, who's the real villain in this movie? I think it's Olivia Hussey.
Right. Like, I didn't quite understand why she just murdered him. I guess because she was suspicious because of one, like, don't kill the baby, and like she thinks that's him. Like, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's it's a clumsy ending. We have to we go along with it because that's what is supposed to happen. We're supposed to now think it's him, but it's clearly not him. Like,
clearly not him. Yeah.
They could have tweaked that ending so we as an audience could be like, well, maybe it has been him the whole time, and then But I don't know. That's my problem with the movie.
Poor Keir Dullea, am I right? Jeez.
Yeah, dude. From Kubrick to this.
Yeah, right? Oh, and he looks like such a doofus in this movie with that hair. Man, like,
that was the coolest haircut I've ever seen. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a liar. You are a liar.
I have never lied in my life about haircuts.
That is a bummer, though, really. Like, from 2001, seeing, one of Kubrick's best to this, where he's killed off screen.
Yeah.
Great.
And he was 38 when they made this movie.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be like in his 20s.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I guess he kind of pulls it off. I mean, that's something I had to look up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, he was 38? Like, so, good on him for remaining so youthful.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's partially because of the haircut that they gave him.
Yes. The hair is doing all the acting for him.
Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll finish up talking about the film. Who is Carl Kolchak?
He's a reporter.
Now that is news, Vincenzo. News! And we are a newspaper. We are supposed to print news, not suppress it.
With the INS.
What's an INS?
Independent news service, sir. Founded in 1904 by Enrico Paluzzi.
Who seems to have a nose for the strange and unusual.
Well, last year in Las Vegas, I uncovered a series of murders that turned out to have been committed by a vampire.
And what is the Kolchak Tapes?
It's a podcast.
All about Carl Kolchak.
What's a Kolchak?
The Night Stalker.
And where can you get it?
On iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at www.kolchaktapes.com.
As foolish a game as any that Gory the Ghoul could make up.
Movies have become a portal to a vast and growing pop culture universe, but you don't need to go over the rainbow to get your pop culture fix. Just head to Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. They are your one-stop shop for comics, toys, posters, games, and more. Not a pop culture nerd? No problem. They have something for everyone, including a wide array of sports cards, collectible card games, even memorabilia. Stop by one of their 2 locations today. The flagship location at 3310 South Minnesota Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or their newest location at 1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17, Lincoln, Nebraska. Most importantly, don't forget to add them on Facebook for pop culture news, weekly live videos, and special events.
Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
Week after week, I'm mesmerized by the focus given great films and questionable films alike. But every episode is a learning and entertaining experience.
This is hands down the best movie podcast. They cover so many different genres across so many years, from obscure movies to blockbusters.
If there's only one podcast about movies and cinema that you listen to, make it this one.
The Projection Booth Podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
All right, so we are back and we are talking about Black Christmas, both 1974 and 2006. Let's talk a little bit, because we kind of touched on it a little bit, how this film came out before Halloween, and this film kind of influenced everything after it in a way. When we look at a film like Black Christmas and the way it's influenced other films, and then we talk about how Halloween supplanted Black Christmas as like the slasher film, I'm kind of curious what y'all think about what pushed Halloween into that spot and pushed Black Christmas out, because I kind of have my theory about why, but I'm curious kind of what y'all think about why Halloween became like the slasher to end all slashers versus Black Christmas.
Okay, I'll say this. I think I mentioned it at the beginning. I think it may have been a right place, right time situation. 4 years doesn't sound like that big a distance, so like as we get older. But when you think about it, the difference between 1974 America, where we're just sort of still reeling from like Watergate and Vietnam and the general consensus of what's going on societally, to 4 years from then, like post Jaws, post Star Wars, post sort of boom of youth and their sort of interest in all mass media. And here's a movie, Halloween comes along, that is slick and masterfully directed and touching on a holiday that hadn't really been exploited before, and that was perfectly suited to that kind of movie. Whereas I think, even into the 80s when Silent Night, Deadly Night came out, there was a massive pushback against it. Because Christmas at the time was still like a sacred holiday, and there was this feeling of how dare you sort of sully it, whereas Halloween is already a not horrible holiday, it's my favorite holiday, but sort of based in horror. I think there was a whole confluence of things going on where Halloween just kind of touched the nerve, and we were all wanting it and waiting for it. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
I would agree with you on every point, but I think another thing that also pushed Halloween into the spot is two things that this film, one thing that this film did not get right at all. And one thing that this film did, but I think missed one slight element, this film didn't have a likable lead that you could root for. Right. And obviously, and Halloween has that with Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, she is the Scream Queen. Whenever you think of a Scream Queen, you think of Jamie Lee Curtis because she's the original one. I mean, if Wes Craven is mentioning it in Scream. And then also, it works in this film's favor not having a instantly recognizable killer, because so much of this is from the killer's point of view. And you only see his eye in one scene, and it's played by Nick Mancuso, which is, if you think about it, it's fantastic. But in Halloween, you have the Michael Myers mask, and you have the giant kitchen knife. In Friday the 13th, you have Jason Voorhees' mom, and then obviously in the other ones, you have Jason himself, sackcloth, and the hockey mask. And then in Nightmare, you have Freddy Krueger with the sweater and the glove. This film doesn't have a really memorable villain, but that's kind of the point.
There's nothing sort of, there's no iconography to grab on.
Right.
It's like if you were to say, tell me about a killer AI, people are going to point at the Terminator robot, and they're less going to talk about HAL 9000, which is just a glowing eye, and a slow, methodical voice. But I agree with that. Oh, definitely. They kept the killer ambiguous and sort of off screen, and so you can't make a fucking doll or an action figure out of this guy. Right.
Well, and what you can do is just have him be a normal guy, which is what they did, which is, he's just a guy who may or may not even just be fucking with them because he wants to. And behind the mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon, if we go off that as canon, that's what Scott Wilson's character talks about in that film, is he's just it's like a normal guy who just wanted to kill people.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all he was. So, and even then, I think that's too much into the character of Billy or whatever his name is from Black Christmas, right? Because that works in his favor. It really does. That works in the film's favor, having this killer who could be anybody or could be a nobody at all, just a guy walking on the street.
Yeah. I guess what makes his character so scary and effective is also what damned the movie to obscurity.
Yeah, because no one can make a fucking doll off of him. Or Black Christmas 2, where he's running around, anything. Yeah. I mean, they could have done anything. Had him in a Santa hat or something. And maybe it would have gone even farther. But the ambiguity is what they were shooting for.
Right, and I think that maybe is why something like Silent Night, Deadly Night is more remembered, because that character dresses up as Santa, he's got an axe, and he's fucking taking it to the people.
Yeah, and then the second one is awful. So,
yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, Mike, couple questions since this is our last podcast of the year. What is your favorite film of the year, and what is your go-to horror holiday film?
Favorite film of the year? It's probably Baby Driver. I had a really good time with that flick. And go-to holiday horror movie? Ooh, there's so many for me. During Halloween, it's probably Halloween, I guess. And during Christmas, it's probably this. Like, I do think that I look forward to watching this movie when the holidays roll around. It might be Black Christmas, of a holiday-themed horror.
We touched on the nerve on this Kulturecast then. Hit that nail right on the head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, when I saw you guys were going to do it, I was like, okay, I got to be talking about this movie. I love this movie. And the more I can get the word out on this movie, the happier I am. You know, I think it's something everybody ought to see.
Yeah, no, if you're a fan of horror films, I think this film kind of has as much leverage in a conversation about the slasher film genre as Halloween does. Obviously, if you go off of time of release, this film has, this film has Halloween beat, but that's a different.
And let me say this, as like if you were to say what's my favorite genre of film, it's a horror. It's a horror 100%. You know what I mean? Like that is my favorite genre. And so, being the age that I am, I won't say I'm jaded about horror movies, but it takes a lot to disturb me. You can make people cringe and sick, and any number of things, but it's rare that there's a movie that I can rewatch where I feel frightened by. And there's a moment at the end of this movie when Olivia Hussey goes into the room and sees Andrea Martin and Margot Kidder's body, and then the camera pans over and you see the eye, and then she runs down the stairs and he's chasing her. Like, I get chills thinking about it right now. So I think that's a very powerful thing that a movie from 1974 can still do that to me to this day. So, and this wasn't a movie that I grew up watching either. I mean, I watched this film as an adult for the first time. I think it's a massively effective horror movie, and there you go.
Eric, for you, what would be your go-to holiday horror movie?
God, my go-to holiday horror movie. Well, now it's going to be the entire Ginger Dead Man series.
You fucking monster.
No, I don't know. God, Black Christmas will probably end up being up there. Oh, God. What do I usually watch? I mean, I could just cop out and just say Gremlins.
If Gremlins were a horror movie,
I feel like I haven't really delved too deeply into holiday, Christmas time horror movies very much. Maybe in the last couple of years, but not enough to say that I have something that I have to watch every year now. I think that's why I picked the subject of holiday horror movies for this month, because it gives me an excuse to watch a bunch of them and see which ones are actually good and worth watching, and which ones are just terrible, and which ones are just really bad but also really fun. So I don't know. I do enjoy Santa's Slay, S-L-A-Y. That movie's fantastic. Goldberg
I like that one as well.
Santa. Goldberg should be Santa in everything. Even if he's not murdering people, I think he should still be Santa.
He's great in that movie.
I would probably say for me this. I mean, this kind of encapsulates everything that I would want out of a holiday horror movie that isn't focused around Halloween time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's based around the holiday, but it's based around it adjacent. It's not like he's killing people with candy canes and Christmas lights like he is, the character is in 2006, which works on a different level. Because if that were the case in this film, it'd be hokey as shit. And it would be comical and not believable, as opposed to in this film where they're going for a sense of realism to an extent. And it would kind of devalue the ferociousness of the killer, if that makes sense. So, because you're not supposed to think he's jokey killing people.
It seems incidental that it takes place at Christmas, and yet it's so integral to the story. It works on so many levels.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's Christmas, but it's not a movie about Christmas. It takes place at Christmas. Christmas is in the title. So
yeah.
So Mike, what would you give the film?
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Out of 5.
Boy, I want to give it a 5. I can't because of, I'm going to give it a 4. I can't give it a 5 because of Olivia Hussey and because of the sort of bumbled ending with Keir Dullea. Like, it's, it's happening because it has to happen as opposed to being skillfully done.
I'm going to give this movie a 4 also. I'm really glad that now I've seen this movie, and I'm also now glad that I've seen the remake, just because it's cool to see. I like seeing the evolution between the original movie and then the remake, and then doing my, 30 minutes or hour of research that I did on how the remake happened and the making of these movies. And it's cool to see that. It's cool to see a slasher movie that predates Halloween, that Halloween took a lot of its ideas from. And it's interesting to see the same movie and the same sort of premise and idea done in 2 different decades, in 2 different styles, because that's sort of the style that was in vogue at the time. I don't know. I mean, like in 74, you had The Exorcist, and the horror movies were like more of horror movies. I feel like were different at the time. Like they were more thriller and sort of like sight unseen type of things. Like it was more about your imagination, sort of like making you more terrified than anything else. And then in 2006, everything is really show, don't tell. So it's just like, let's make it as, hyper intense and crazy and violent and gory as possible. It's just shock and awe. So I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to see where like the evolution came from, like this being like really the first maybe true slasher movie, and then to see it brought back around, almost 40 years later, and see like kind of how far the slasher genre went from sort of like one end of the spectrum to the other with the same movie is like a definitely interesting thing for me to think about.
For me, I'll give it a 4. Like I said, there are some problems. Olivia Hussey's character is just beyond obnoxious. I mean, just being honest.
She's bad.
It's awesome that John Saxon is in this movie. We didn't even talk about the fact that he's essentially just playing his character from Nightmare in this movie.
Yeah.
John Saxon plays John Saxon very well, and he does it again here.
Yeah, pretty much. Lieutenant Fuller, Detective Thompson. Come on, like... It's not a coincidence, folks. This film is really the proto-slasher. I mean, even think about some of the beats in this movie. Some of the beats in this movie, they expanded into full movies. When a Stranger Calls is one beat of When a Stranger Calls is one beat of this movie. The call is coming from inside the house. Like, that's one beat in this movie, and they expanded it to an entire movie.
Yeah.
For When a Stranger Calls, and then they remade that movie too, because of course they did. But it's a good movie. It's just there are some things about this movie that aren't great, and there's some things about this movie that haven't aged well. But the killer's cool. It's well shot. It's well directed. It's just too bad that there's no one to root for, because ultimately, no characters to root for, no emotional investment in the film. So, what do you guys think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Ooh, if anyone has seen it, I'd say, I don't know, 63.
I'm going to go higher and go 68.
67. 27 reviews counted, 67%. Audience score, 75%. With 22,000 user ratings. So,
that's good.
22,000 people have seen it at least, so that's good. Yeah, no, it's not a film that I think a lot of people have seen, and it doesn't have the name Halloween, so
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
In a way, though, this is a fucked up thing to say, but I like that it's a core group that are into this movie. You know what I mean? It's not as commercialized as it could have been. Even with a remake, it didn't sort of spark interest in the original movie, and that's I'm glad to introduce people to the movie, but at the same time, like, I'm glad it isn't on lunchboxes and fucking, action figures.
And it's not being remade by Danny McBride, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there you go. Jesus H. Christ.
Oof. I think we know who we're going to have on the podcast next year when we talk about the Halloween sequel, Eric. It's fucking bad. Oh man, that's so we'll take one last break and we'll play the preview for what is undoubtedly be probably the biggest film we talk about this year on the Kulturecast.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power, and beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be. Going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
That's right. Next week, we're going to be talking about a little film called Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And we are going to be joined by everyone's favorite Canadian filmmaker, Mr. Matt Campagna. However, before then, the real question that's on everyone's mind is, what is going on with you, Mr. Mike Wallace?
This and that. I'm trying to think of what I've seen recently that might be a bit. Oh, actually, guys, I actually watched a Christmas movie last night that is more terrifying than anything that has ever been produced about Christmas. It was called Christmas with the Cranks, starring Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. Have you seen this movie?
Jesus Christ. Yes.
It's fucking horrifying.
It's Tim Allen the murderer. It's not a horror movie, Eric. It's a horrible movie.
Oh, I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was in it. It had to be a horror movie.
She's never looked worse, Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's about a couple who decide that they're not going to participate in Christmas and how the entire neighborhood turns into like this fascist death camp where they like force them to be frolicsome and jolly. It is terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It's amazing. And that one squirrely actor who's in a bunch of stuff is Santa Claus.
Oh, Austin Pendleton.
Yeah, and he's Santa Claus.
Yeah, who is? Yes, he is. He's very low key Santa Claus. He just keeps showing up at people's parties and stuff, and then in the end, it was Santa all along. The movie. It's written by John Grisham, screenplay by Chris Columbus.
Yes, that John Grisham, because it's based off a John Grisham book.
Yeah, dude. Oh. obviously words are failing me. Like I can't describe the terror that this movie instilled in me at like what people think is acceptable for Christmas time. It's just people showing up on your lawn and demanding that you put up Christmas lights. I was like, what the fuck? God forbid you were Jewish in that neighborhood, man. They would fucking pull you out of your house and beat you to death.
I mean, let's be honest. It's what's the name of that movie with Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito? That's another Christmas movie.
I know the movie you're talking about where they're competing with their Christmas displays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole category of like all the wrong-headed things that go on at Christmas. I don't know.
We should have done holiday horror movies and just done horrible movies made for the holidays.
Yeah, like the most commercial cash grabby kind of like a comedy with zero jokes. That is Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah, holiday movies really bad.
They're not good.
Yeah, a lot of holiday movies are really just like the bottom barrel Hallmark garbage. And then you have movies like Christmas with the Cranks or Jingle All the Way.
Again, and you know what, Jingle All the Way, isn't that Chris Columbus as well? I think it is.
Is it? Yeah, but I don't think Chris Columbus directed it. He didn't direct Christmas with the Cranks.
No, he wrote the screenplay for it based on the Grisham novel.
Yeah, and then he produced Jingle All the Way.
Oh, okay. I know he was involved somehow with the mediocrity of these films.
He just loves Christmas movies about bad dads.
Yeah, he sure does. Although, the dad in Gremlins was one of the best dads in a Christmas movie.
It's true. So what? How's OughtFiveFilms going these days? How's that?
We're doing pretty good. I haven't got any new content on there. I'm working on doing a new one. I'm actually doing Ed Wood, the Tim Burton film. Working on that right now. And, I still got my podcast. We'll take it from here on iTunes and Podbean. As I guess I can say it now, I'm a tour guide here in Las Vegas at the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum. So I'm doing all of that and looking forward to the upcoming holidays.
So go on down to Zach Bagans Haunted Museum and say hi to Mike for us, would you?
Yes, I will. I will guide your tour.
What about you, Eric? What have you been up to?
Just checking it.
Fucking Christ. You goddamn asshole.
I'm sorry, that's terrible. Tactless humor that I am not. I don't know.
That you're known for. Just say it.
That's how people know me. They're like, hey, there's that guy that knows about movies, and then there's that other guy who's just like an idiot and talks about his cock the whole time.
But oh, what a cock it must be.
Oh my God, it's so amazingly mediocre. It's fantastic. I don't know. No, I've just been watching these holiday horror movies, and I got I don't know. I've been watching some Netflix stuff. Did you ever see that Britt Marling thing on Netflix, the OA? It's really good. Have you ever seen any of her other things, like Another Earth, or what was the fucking other thing that was like on HBO? It's like called The Sound of My Voice.
Yeah, nor I.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, if you're looking for some really like mind-bendy, weird sci-fi stuff, definitely awesome. Check that shit out. It's I don't know. It's really cool. So she did this Netflix series, I guess, that is, going to come back soon. And so I sort of have been rewatching the first season, which came out last year, and it's really weird. And Chris, I have no idea whether or not you would like it, but I really like it. For some weird reason, it just hits me in this right spot where I'm like, this is really weird, and I don't know if I'm on board with it, but I like it. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I take your opinion into consideration when I watch stuff, so I'll have to check it out if it's good. Yeah. I got a Shudder subscription because you have one. So, and now I watch The Core with Mickey Keating. He's a genre fanatic, Mickey Keating.
I gotta go see, he just had a movie that's coming out. Yeah, it's called Psychopath.
I don't know, but The Core on Shudder is cool. So
yeah, I'm behind a couple of episodes, so I gotta go through those.
But I watch Shudder and Netflix, and that's pretty much it. It's the holidays, so whatever. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash. You can follow Eric on Twitter at Tychomagnetics. You can follow Mike on Twitter at OughtFiveFilms.
At OughtFive.
At OughtFive. Oof, no films, just OughtFive.
Yes, yes.
And you can follow the website at Culture Shocked. At Culture Shocked. Jesus fucking Christ, what am I saying?
It's late.
Yeah, I know, right? Please head on over to cultureshock.com where you can find out more about today's episode. You'll find links to iTunes where you can rate and review the show, and to Patreon. Donors get access to unreleased episodes, DVDs, and a chance to guest co-host a Kulturecast. Big thanks to you, Mike, for sitting down and talking about, I guess, your favorite holiday horror movie outside of Halloween with us.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
A big thanks, as always, to Eric and Wavoka for allowing us to use Lament, and my good buddy Justin Scott, a.k.a. Dud Decipher, for allowing us to use his song Two-Step.
Two-step, posted with the crew. You know how we do, I'm just two-step, drink in my right hand, phone in my other hand, getting to the money. Oh man, two-step, posted with the crew. Yeah, you know how we do.
Hey, two-step, you know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 1, 2. Benjamin, aka the Black T, you know what I'm saying? Catch me with my crew every day.